Hello there. It's time for Most Things Kenobi.
Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Most Things Kenobi, a podcast about Obi-Wan Kenobi and all things Star Wars. I'm your host, Leanne.
And I'm your host, Lauren.
And this week, before we get into it, we have some very exciting New Year's announcements, and we want to wish everyone out there in the Star Wars universe a very happy New Year's.
Yes. We have some really exciting stuff coming in 2022.
Yes!
I'm excited about it. I think it's going to be really fun. Some of them will be physical goodies that you can put your hands on, and some of them will be just like hangouts. It's going to be great. We're working on merch with one of our favorite artists. I'm very excited about that. The stuff she's already shown us has been so good. I'm so excited.
You guys, if you could see what has been drawn for our merch, you too would shit your pants. It's that good.
Oh my gosh, it's awesome. And then we're also working on getting Patreon together. So we recorded this once, like 3 times already, but we're having technical difficulty. But as you have said, this has doing the podcast has kind of given us a bigger community and people that we enjoy interacting with. And Patreon will make it possible for us to actually hang out with people and be more of a community and have more interactive experiences with our listeners.
Yes, we plan on live streaming episodes of Clone Wars where Lauren and I react to it and we can chat with you guys. And really, I mean, the possibilities are endless on what you can request for us to do for you. We can all watch together. We can have a good time. You can get to see us outside of the recorded content. You know, there's a lot of good stuff coming. So 2022 is going to be great. We have a lot of goals. We're going to set them, and you guys will benefit from them.
Yes. So also, just a thank you to anybody who's ever listened to an episode, even part of an episode. We have people in... I did the specs for us. Spotify gave us a round,
Yes.
What's the word I'm looking for?
Spotify Wrapped.
Thank you. Yes.
Yes.
We have listeners in, I think, 24 different countries.
It's amazing.
It's incredible. And we are just so grateful for each and every one of you. So thank you.
Yes. And we want to get to know you as well. So
yes.
Just more interaction in 2022. I think it's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
So because our audience is so amazing, you support us already so much, we welcome any reviews on Apple Podcasts. I don't even know if you can review on Spotify, but if you want to go ahead and give us a 5-star, go for it. We love it. We love the feedback. It helps us, and it definitely helps us provide more for you down the line because of metrics and weird things like that.
Exactly. So, yeah, we're just playing the algorithm game.
The algorithm game. Yes, it's a nasty but necessary function of all of this crap. So
exactly.
If you want to leave us a review, or if you have already left us a review, we have seen you. Thank you.
Yes.
But we appreciate all future reviews, especially on Apple. It's the big one.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we read them all. Every now and then I go on and I look through and see if there's any new ones, and thank you so much. Also, caveat, if you hear all this racket going on my end, I apologize. People are...
Yeah, we're really just trying to make it through this podcast today because there's a lot of things working against us here.
It's been a struggle, truly.
It has.
My dog's barking. My boyfriend's
making
making dinner in the other room. It's just like...
There are airplanes flying over my house nonstop at this point.
My sump pump's going off. It's just...
One of our goals in 2022 was not stop being a mess. So you're just going to have to deal with us.
And also, there's no money for building a real sound booth. So this is the reality.
No, this is what we have.
We're living with it.
But we kind of love it, too. It's our thing.
It keeps us humble.
Yes. So what are we actually discussing this week, my dear space twin?
Oh, a thing that we both feel prickly about, I think.
Yes, we're prickly. Prickly is the word.
Did Padmé Amidala die of a broken heart?
No.
Short answer, no.
See you next week. No.
Thanks for stopping in, folks.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
No, there's a lot more to it, but you and I both feel pretty strongly that the answer to that question is no.
Yeah, that just rubs me the wrong way completely, considering the character's backstory.
Yeah. I mean, Padme was no delicate flower.
No. It's
By any
never
sense.
shied away from a challenge.
No. And yes, some shit happened there at the end of Revenge of the Sith. But the parallel that I can't get over, that I really think is the reason why she died. I mean, the theory out there is that the shit that happened at the end of Revenge of the Sith, she had her babies, and then she just passed away because Anakin was gone, so to speak.
Yeah.
Or had changed, turned into Vader, etc. That's the standing theory, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. A lot of people have made memes about it. Like, oh, Padme, she died of a sadness.
Sad Padme.
Yeah, sad Padme. Like, yeah, she was sad, but, like, she had a lot of shit to be sad about prior to that, too, and she never withered away.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like her life was exactly all rainbows and butterflies.
No. I mean,
it was just one challenge after another for this woman.
well, all of Attack of the Clones was basically one giant assassination attempt.
Yes, and we've seen in the Clone Wars series, it has been tried over and over to kill this woman.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she's been poisoned, she's been, you know, assassins getting in place to, you know, overthrow her and the rest of the Senate and a bunch of other senators and, you know.
Yeah.
But come on.
Well, and wasn't she like the youngest queen ever of Naboo?
Yes.
And
Absolutely.
then instantly went from that into being a senator, which is just mind-blowing to me, you know? Was she 25? What I was doing when I was 25? Not even close.
Nope.
Yeah, she shames me.
Yeah, she was pretty badass. I mean, the shit she was juggling
Yeah.
was okay, and then she becomes pregnant with a Jedi's child, which they only thought they were having one until, you know, two popped out.
Yes. Oh my God. There's a second one in there.
There's two of them. No. Do you actually think this woman who was so dedicated to any cause she truly believed in would abandon her children because of the SADs? No.
No, not at all.
I don't see her being that kind of parent.
No.
Like, have the kids and then fucking bail and just leave her. Like, it sounds ridiculous because it is.
Yeah. Yeah, and it takes this woman who was a powerful female character. I'm using air quotes here because that's like a popular phrase in, you know, pop culture. She's the entire prequels sets her up and establishes her as this like strong-willed woman, this intelligent woman, intuitive woman, and then to turn it on its head and have her wither and die from sadness. It's just like, and I don't know if George Lucas has ever explained what has killed her, but I like the fan theories, you know, much better than the idea that, like, she literally just lost the will to live. I think that's what the droid says about her.
Yeah, no.
They can't explain it.
Will
She's
to
just
live.
lost the will to live.
No, her two children are her will to live.
Yeah.
You don't think she would have stuck around to make sure? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. Like,
Well, and her dying breath was that she still believed there's good in Anakin. So she's still strong in her conviction.
I just don't see it. She was someone who dedicated herself to whatever she needed to dedicate herself to, and I believe that she would have dedicated herself to those children. She would have been an excellent mother. We see her motherly tendencies towards Ahsoka, towards other people she didn't even know but that were in need. She was willing to sacrifice herself over and over and over for the greater good.
Yeah.
in many instances in the Clone Wars television show. So I just don't see, like, her losing that at the end, her giving that up,
Right.
She's too strong of a person to just wither and die from whatever, losing her will to live. She didn't lose anything.
Yeah.
It was taken from her.
Yeah.
I believe by Palpatine.
Yeah. Yeah.
He had the ability to do it.
Well, and they say, right, that he drained her life and put it into Anakin.
Yeah, and I actually believe that, 100%. Anakin was barely alive.
Yeah. It's crazy that he was alive at all after what he had been through.
Yes. And then what they put him through to try and, like, attach those metal arms and limbs and fix that skin.
And when he, at the end of Revenge of the Sith, when he, like, comes to and stands up and is fully Vader, and he asks where Padme is, Palpatine says, "It appears in your anger you killed her." And that has never made sense to me, without any kind of, like, researching and getting an explanation from fandom, basically, as opposed to, like, from the filmmakers. In the theater, I was like, he killed her with his anger? When? Like,
well, I think Palpatine was using him force choking her on Mustafar. He set it up so that Vader thought that he killed her there on Mustafar.
Do you think that Palpatine even knew? Like, how did Palpatine know Padme was even on Mustafar? I always wondered if he just said that so that it would make Anakin even angrier and, like...
Well, that's definitely why he told him that. I'm not sure if he meant... I don't know if he knew about Mustafar. It seems you could use the excuse that Palpatine knew everything.
Sure.
But I'm not sure if he knew the specifics or if he just straight made that up. And it just so happened that Vader would have recalled in that moment force choking her on Mustafar. I don't think that Anakin in that moment on Mustafar intended to kill her.
Yeah.
He just put her off to the side, if you will.
Yeah.
Because his real issue was with Obi-Wan in that moment.
Yeah.
I don't know. But then again, when you are in a fit of blind rage, I don't even know if you're thinking correctly. And clearly Anakin was not. He was strictly driven by emotion.
Yeah.
There was no common sense. There was no, anything that was helping him other than his blind rage.
Yeah, it was clearly not premeditated. It just happened in the moment because he, like, snapped on a dime as soon as he saw Obi-Wan standing in the doorway of the shuttle. Then he was like, you're in cahoots, and now I hate you both.
Yeah, that was...
It's always
any other situation, he probably would never have thought that. Can you imagine thinking that at all? I mean, come on, Anakin. I know I love Anakin, but damn, like, really, you're going to go to that?
I always found that annoying because they started establishing that with one scene previously where Padme said that Obi-Wan had stopped by to say goodbye before he left for Utapau. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And Anakin was like, Obi-Wan was here, like, without my permission. It was like, that came out of nowhere, that he was suddenly jealous of Obi-Wan's time with Padme. And I just think that's weak storytelling, but...
It is.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, definitely.
It like, turned on a dime too fast for me in that scene, for him to, like, suddenly be jealous and, like, assume that Padme was betraying him.
Well, you could reason. Now, I'm not for this storyline. I am not here for this theory. I'm not here trying to back up the fact that Anakin rightfully got jealous of Obi-Wan, but you could, if you think about the final seasons of Clone Wars prior to season 7, he did have the Clovis jealousy.
That's true.
So, I mean, maybe Filoni and company put that was the beginning of him mistrusting Padme a little, and then Obi-Wan did it, and all of a sudden he's just like, why does this keep repeating? I'm just trying to think of it from... But at the time, there was no Clone Wars
TV
show. So we just have to go off of what Lucas did, and it was weak storytelling. Yes.
Yeah, but I do agree with you that it, like, with Clone Wars put in there, it kind of makes more sense. And, like, from what I've heard, George Lucas was trying to tell a huge story in Revenge of the Sith. It was like he was trying to connect two giant storylines by putting Revenge of the Sith in there. And it was like, really, he needed the length of the Clone Wars to truly establish that character's downfall properly.
Isn't there like a 5-hour unedited Revenge of the Sith that people are constantly asking for?
Yeah.
Give us that. Or, Filoni, we politely and humbly request that you just redo Revenge of the Sith in animated form.
Oh, that would be cool. That would be really cool. I don't dislike Revenge of the Sith. I love it.
Me neither.
I think it's a great movie. It's the best of the prequels, in my opinion, for sure.
Yes.
And it's very...
It just has weak parts, like every other movie.
Every movie. Yeah, exactly. Every movie's going to have something like that. I just, like, the way Padme was treated at the end just has always made me really angry because she was... We have talked about this before, though. There's a lot of, like, inconsistency with her where she's, like, saying no but meaning yes and shit like that.
Yes.
So I guess it's not totally out of left field that the writers would be writing her in contrast. But I don't think it's true to the character. I mean, granted, if it was Palpatine draining her life, yes, then I think it makes sense. Nothing she did.
It makes a lot of sense.
Nothing she did would have been able to stop that or change that, no matter how powerful she was or how strong-willed she was.
Right.
And of course, obviously, she had to die because of the way everything was established in the original trilogy. I've always thought that line, though, that Leia says, I remember when Luke is asking, tell me about your mother, what do you remember? And she says, she was very beautiful but sad. And she just remembers images and feelings of her. Like, I've always wondered what that... Like, why was there that disconnect there between what George Lucas... He was writing the scripts himself. Like, wouldn't he have known that there was, like, that disconnect there?
Well, the way I always took that Leia line was two different ways. One, because of her strength in the Force, Leia's, she could probably feel an imprint of her mother in those final moments, maybe. And yes, Padme was sad at the end because something was happening to her. It wasn't working, and she knew that there was something wrong with Anakin. And so all of that was probably imprinted. And perhaps Leia being more of a... I mean, Luke's kind of a feeler, but I feel like Leia understood people. Not that Luke doesn't, but she had that... She was a leader. I mean, she was a leader of people, and you have to understand people in order to lead them. So I feel like it was her first brush at, I almost want to say like an empath, empath tendencies, even as a newborn baby. But the other thing is maybe Bail showed her clips, or R2 showed her clips.
That could be. That's a really good point.
I mean, Bail and Breha loved Padme, so I don't think that they would have kept it as a secret, like this was your real mother,
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. Like, because Luke says, do you remember your mother, your real mother? So I assume that Leia always knew she was adopted, right?
Yes. Yeah, I think so. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And it's actually, some of that is revealed in the Bloodlines novel, that Bail was forthcoming with that information. And in fact, the way that she finds out that she's Vader's daughter,
Really? Yeah.
I mean, outside of the books, like, there's evidence that gets out that Bail left her. I don't want to spoil it for anyone who hasn't read it, but there's more to it. But Bail never kept it a secret that Padme was her mother.
I heard, too, I think it's in a graphic novel or maybe it's in this book where she's passing, I think... I'm not 100% sure, so I don't want to mislead anybody, but it's like Leia is, I think, on Naboo, but she's seeing like a stained glass window that has Padme's image in it, and she has like a moment, like a vision there or something like that, and I've never read that, but I've always been interested, and people were saying that explains like what Leia was saying to Luke. But like, of course, when those movies were written, and even when the prequels were written, none of that content existed. So like, it's all it's all explained now, I guess, but like in the moment, it was kind of like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. That's kind of beautiful with the stained glass and the...
Yeah, I want to find...
That would be nice.
I want to find that piece and read it because I've always found that interesting, the idea of that interesting.
I 100% subscribe to the theory that in order to make sure Anakin lived enough to get him in that suit, Palpatine had to drain someone of their life force, and Padme was the obvious choice.
Yeah.
Considering she was in the middle of birth, she just had this asphyxiation moment from her husband. It was the perfect plot for him to use that against Anakin in some way, and to successfully remove her because she was a problem.
Yeah.
If she had lived, she would have been a very huge problem.
Oh my God. If you Google what killed Padme Amidala in giant letters, it comes up as broken heart.
I can't.
Yeah.
I will not. Mm-mm. Who decided this? Who made this? Is that seriously what happens when you Google it?
Yeah.
Well, we're here to
It's on Wikipedia. That's where it's coming from.
Now, I have words, Wikipedia. We follow you on Twitter, and you follow us back, and you interact with us because we love each other here. Can you change that, please? Do I have to tweet you privately and ask you to change that? This is a direct message to Wikipedia, and yes, I will be tweeting you about this. You are our favorite Wook.
I mean,
I've said it time and time before.
That is the official explanation. So
I'm not accepting it. Nope.
Yeah, I mean, we know it's possible to pull life force from one being and give it to another. It happens in the Clone Wars when in the Mortis arc, when Ahsoka dies and the sister or the daughter sacrifices the remainder of her life to bring Ahsoka back to life, and she was almost dead. So, but that was still enough life force to like revive Ahsoka. So it is possible, that Palpatine.
Well, this happens in Lord of the Rings too.
Really?
Because we love Lord of the Rings on this podcast. But Arwen gave her life force, her immortality life force to Frodo early on in the Fellowship of the Ring.
Really?
And that's really how he was able to go on, is because he had the Morgul knife fragment in his chest there, and it would have slowly killed him, and he was near death. And then she just transferred it over to him to get him the rest of the way, to keep him alive until they could work on him and fix him up.
Does she die because of that?
Well, she became mortal, which is what she wanted anyway, so she could be with Aragorn. So,
oh well, that's romantic.
It's convenient as well. So, yeah. But she didn't do it thinking of Aragorn in that moment. She did it out of desperation for the ring bearer. So, or she knew there was something special about this hobbit. Not necessarily that he was carrying the one ring, at least in that moment. Maybe she had an idea. I can't recall. I've only read it like 15 times, but whatever.
Well, I know for sure that we have quite a few Lord of the Rings fans who listen to us.
Oh, so. Yes. Don't worry. We're going to do a Lord of the Rings episode.
I'm going to have to just be like a polite bystander on that one.
That's okay. I'll talk all episode.
Maybe I should make like a list of questions and just ask you questions about Lord of the Rings.
Like make Star Wars, Lord of the Rings comparisons and contrasting points, and then I'll explain them.
That would be great. You'll have to make the list, though, of the comparisons,
because
I don't even know those.
Anyway, there's your tangent for this episode.
Gotta have at least one.
No, it was
still connected.
It was connected because of Arwen is essentially, yeah. So I just don't believe she died of a broken heart, and I can't wait to hear what our fans think, our listeners think.
Yeah.
This, that's gonna be the question of this week: is do you think she died of a broken heart, or do you think that Palpatine had something to do with it, or was it just death from childbirth? Because also not totally uncommon.
No, and I was gonna say, like, is it just me, or is that birth scene really weird?
Well, there's a lot of dudes just standing around in there watching her have children.
And
I mean,
she's laying down flat, which, first of all, is the, if not impossible, most difficult way to give birth. Like, back in the olden times, women give birth standing up because gravity.
Because you got to squat.
It helps you give birth if you're standing because the gravity. And then, I can't remember which king. It was Louis the 13th, 14th, 17th, I can't remember, wanted to watch his wife give birth. So he made her lie down. And that's why women give birth laying down now, from what I've heard. I'm not a full historian on this, so I'm not 100% sure if that is what I've read. So
that is interesting.
Padme's like laying down, almost tilted backwards, which just doesn't work. Also, that robot with like the scoop arm that comes in.
I wasn't going to bring that up because it's gross.
I don't like it.
But the table itself is kind of weird because instead of a sheet, they had like that cone.
Yeah.
Like that tube thing that was over her. I mean, I get it. You have to make it look space agey.
Also, like, there's no blood. Come on now.
Yeah, they came out real clean.
Yeah, there'd be all kinds of fluids all over the place on that stupid table. Robots or no robots.
It's true. And it was a very white, clean table. There's a lot of starch white in that room that would have... Yeah, very. They also did that in comparison because it had to be white versus the dark black of the table that Anakin was on.
Well...
You know... I get it. If you put the two images together, it's very clear the light side, the dark side, etc.
That's true, but very
And I really actually I really actually do appreciate the fact that if you're looking at Anakin top down, the table he's on becomes the Empire symbol. Like
that's true, yeah.
Which is kind of similar to the Republic's symbol, right? Mm-hmm. It's just kind of the inverse of it a little bit, but loved it. Loved it.
The symbolism is great. It's really amazing. And like to have the birth and death and rebirth like all there together at the same time is amazing. Just not a realistic birth. Just
yeah.
It's always bothered me. But, and like the babies come out all like nice and wrapped in a little blanket. They don't have like the like whatever it is. It's like the real babies born are covered in like a grease.
Yes,
you know,
and they're bluish because they haven't been breathing oxygen yet.
Yes,
or at least atmospheric oxygen. So
and they were huge.
They were very big, yes, but we can excuse that for movie sake.
True, you can't have a newborn on a movie set. No,
but she came up with the names real fast. Do we ever get to know why she named either of them Luke or Leia?
That's a good question.
Do we know this?
I don't know
because I don't know this.
I've never researched that, and like she must have. Maybe they were just names she had picked out, whether she had a boy or a girl, and then she ended up having both.
True. Because that would make the most sense.
I would feel like Padme probably would have known she was carrying twins. Don't you feel like somebody along the way would have told her that was going on?
I feel like Anakin would have been the one to know.
Well, that's a good point. Don't they talk about that in the Revenge of the Sith novel?
Oh, it's been a while since
maybe
I read
I'm making that up.
No, I think there's something that where he sensed it.
Because he can sense like the life inside her, I thought.
Yes.
That's I need to reread that book. It's great.
Yeah, me too, because it is excellent. Matthew Stover does a bang-up fucking job on writing that shit. There's some beautiful stuff in there.
It's one of the best Star Wars books out there. It is beautifully written. Yeah.
It's just been a really long time since I read it.
Yeah, I read it during a really terrible time in my life, so I'm like kind of afraid to reread it because I totally associate it with that, but I need to like find a happy way of bringing it back into my life instead. Because it was excellent. It really was. It was
very
so
excellent.
well done.
So final consensus, my space twin. Did Padme die of a broken heart?
Fuck no.
Fuck no. There. We don't believe it. We believe she was drained of her life force, her life energy in order to keep Anakin alive. It was the perfect setup so Palpatine could get rid of someone who was a problem.
Yes.
And increase the life force of the man that he had been working so diligently his entire fucking life to make into Vader.
Yeah. Yes. Agreed. Well said.
Sorry, you don't take a strong, smart, intelligent, dedicated woman and have her die of a broken heart. It just doesn't make sense. Not when she has dedication to her 2 children that she just birthed. She wouldn't give up on them. No way.
Yeah. I couldn't have said it better myself. So, as usual, we're going to turn the conversation over to you guys. What do you think? Did Padmé Amidala, Queen, Senator, Jedi's wife,
Yes.
magnanimous lady, did she die of a broken heart? What do you think? What do you think killed Padmé Amidala? We would love to hear it. Scooch over to our social media, send us an email, however you want to get in touch with us, and let us know your thoughts.
And next week, after such a heavy topic, we're going to a very light and fun and fluffy topic.
Fluffy.
That topic, we're dedicating an entire episode to the various forms of Obi-Wan's hair. Yes, you heard it. We're talking about Obi-Wan's hair.
It's going to be glorious. And
There is that one moment that it's a mullet, but...
I was just going to say, glorious and kind of terrible and kind of...
But we love it for its terribleness. It's glorious even at its worst.
Yes.
That's what we're here to talk about next week, so join us.
So last week we talked about Baby Yoda and Luke and Ahsoka and all the ways that the Jedi kind of tie together in The Mandalorian. And we asked our listeners what they thought about all of that, and we got some really fun responses. People agreed that Luke's voice sounded kind of weird. It didn't sound natural. It definitely sounded like computer generated, and that was a bit disappointing for people. I totally agree with that sentiment.
I also agree, yes.
And then we got a comment about the darksaber, which I very passionately found like totally weird in The Mandalorian because it didn't seem to be in keeping with the rules that we had already had established with the darksaber. And some folks listening to us agreed, saying that they had just watched Rebels, and what happened in The Mandalorian didn't match the rules that had been established in Rebels.
See, that's what I thought too.
Yeah, because you had said that maybe Sabine had given the darksaber to Bo-Katan, which this person confirmed is what happened. And then the next thing you know, Moff Gideon has the darksaber, and then Mando wins it from Moff Gideon, and now Bo-Katan can't just accept it back from Mando. I don't understand it. It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, that's a gap that needs to be filled at some point.
Yeah, and maybe it's an episode we need to do a little research on and dig into, but yeah, I definitely found that frustrating as well, personally.
I agree. So, thank you once again for joining us here on the Most Things Kenobi podcast. Remember to follow us on Tumblr, Twitter, and Instagram, and don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast player. Plus, you can always find us over at mostthinkskenobi.com.
So, until next time, my space twin, may the Force be with you.
Always.